Searching for a missing air crew member after a Navy helicopter went down in the Arabian Gulf near Iran.
The Seahawk helicopter assigned to the USS George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier made an emergency water landing. The Navy says there is no indication hostile action caused the incident.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. The Pentagon says 3 of the 4 crew members have been recovered and the 3 are in stable condition. Well, extreme heat is gripping several states in the central and eastern U.S. Conditions are ripe for wildfires in some western states. Crews in Colorado battling a growing blaze.
The Aspen Acres fire in Colorado's Pueblo and Custer counties burning through nearly 50,000 acres since igniting Monday. The Pueblo County Sheriff's Office says it's 0% contained and has destroyed more than 150 structures.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. America's listening to Fox News.
Lunchtime just got an upgrade. Stop by Macadoo for our $8.95 weekday special and grab a legendary sandwich at an unbeatable price. Choose from your favorite classics to Coney Island, Betty Bop, Ragtime, or Stogie. Classic sandwiches packed with savory meats and flavors in between fresh bread. Make it a meal by pairing your sandwich with a sidekick, a warm cup of soup, or crispy chips. Great food, cozy vibes, and the best deal in town.
It's time to share great food and fun. Just to be there, the only one. Just to be there at Macadoo's.
We'll see you at the Do's.
Come celebrate America's 250th with the Howlers at City Stadium Saturday, July 4th, presented by Drain Rangers. Enter the park and get your free patriotic rally towel. Root on the Howlers for a 6:30 p.m. first pitch, and then stay for the only fireworks show in Lynchburg following the game. America's pastime on America's 250th. Tickets are going fast, so get yours now at hchowlers.com and howl out loud.
Hi, I'm Kevin Love. People see the NBA career, the championship ring, but what they don't always see is the anxiety or the moments I felt completely lost. That's why Sony Pictures Animation's film GOAT means so much to me. It's about Will Harris, a small goat who believes in himself and proves you don't have to be the biggest to be a champion.
Everyone's always told me smalls can't ball. I'm too blessed to be stressed. Everything I need to succeed is right here.
Through the Kevin Love Fund, we've created GOAT Beyond the Game, a completely free curriculum for teachers, coaches, parents, and youth programs. 4 lessons designed for kids K through 8 that cover everything from managing anger to building resilience to believing in yourself when the world doubts you. These are evidence-based tools that actually work and will help kids discover that they have the power to change the game. Go to kevinlovefund.org right now and download GOAT Beyond the Game for free.
You're stepping into the fast lane on the VTRN Sports app, 93.3 FM and 1320 AM Lynchburg, or by asking Alexa or Google Home, open VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, take the fast lane through the topics that matter across the Commonwealth. This is the Fast Lane with Ed Lane.
It's Friday. No, it's not. It's Thursday, but it's our Friday because we were off tomorrow. No show tomorrow. And I want to confirm with Ed, he is traveling again right now, that we no show next week is he will be on vacation. So we might be doing a show, JJ.
Of course, got to stay ready.
I think as the plan, no show next week, as Ed is on vacation, enjoying his time. I'm not gonna say where because I feel like that's weird to say on the air. People should not know. It's Ed's information to reveal. But he'll be on vacation, a much deserved vacation for one Edward Lane. Anyways, I have waited. I mean, unfortunately, a rare time when a news breaks after our show, but I've waited about 23 hours for this. And we're gonna kick it off with our fast 5 at 5-ish, and I might, this is JJ's real first chance. He's gonna do the Kobe ISO here. But let's get to it with the fast 5 at 5-ish, breaking down the latest news.
It's time for Fast 5 at 5-ish. 5-ish minutes on 5 relevant topics done around 5 p.m.-ish. Because our counting skills are kinda ish. Let's start with number 5.
About 23 hours ago, I was in the other room. I heard a loud, "What?" Checked my phone, and Sham Sharani of ESPN reported the Boston Celtics have agreed to trade Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George, 2 first-round picks, and 2 second-round picks. Sources tell ESPN. As some of you may know, JJ here is a Celtics fan. JJ has tweeted, like, if you check at JJ Hendrickson, he didn't use Twitter before he got this job, at JJ Hendrickson 27. He had like retweets of the Boston Celtics in 2017. He had some retweets of Ed. He had the intern, but his first true tweet outside of the show, was the show lineup for today, was this. So JJ, I'm gonna let you go ISO here, ISO, and cook.
Yeah. So the trade was Jaylen Brown for Paul George, 2 firsts and 2 seconds, right? And the report came out that the initial offer the Celtics were looking for was for 5 first-round picks, DJ Edgecombe, and Paul George. So my response was, in what world do you end up accepting the final offer that they took from Philadelphia when that was your starting point? Like, that is miles away from the initial offer the Celtics made to Philadelphia, but they still made a choice to accept it. Like, let's keep in mind, according to Shams and everything, Jaylen Brown had never officially requested a trade from the Celtics. This is not a trade that necessarily had to happen right now. I do think it was time for it to happen, but this is not the offer you ever take in this scenario. I really don't understand it barely at all.
I mean, just hilarious. Absolutely. Like, I laughed at his reaction. I laughed at his tweet. As mentioned, Jaylen Brown, who did issue a statement today about leaving Boston. He said, I don't have it pulled up, but he did issue a statement. I mean, honestly, this was just a panic move by the Boston Celtics. They get a 2028 first-round pick that can convert from a first to a swap that is more favorable to Boston, whatever that means. A 2031 unprotected first, a 2028 second-round pick more favorable of Golden State, Oklahoma City, and Milwaukee, and a 2030 favorable second, most favorable of Washington, Portland, and Phoenix. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of insane, all those terms. Good luck following that. Shout out to Tankathon for doing that for us. Anyways, this is objectively hilarious. Like, apparently, I guess analytical minds, which I feel a little bit like Ed right now, which Ed is celebrating this trade being a Sixer fan, hating on analytics. Like, Jaylen Brown was I mean, if you want to go by MVP voting, he was the 6th best player in the NBA this year. Now, he's not the 6th best basketball player in the world.
Not even
he's
the
probably,
best player on the Celtics.
Yeah, he was the 10th to 15th best player, but you had reporting from Brian Windhorst who's saying the Celtics thought Derek White had a better season than Jaylen Brown. I think this they shouldn't have done anything at all. Or is Paul George and Hugo Gonzalez better than Giannis? Because that's kind of what they did. Because they could have gotten Jaylen Brown and throw in a Hugo Gonzalez or a Baylor Shireman into a trade to get Giannis, or they could have done this. And I don't think this is favorable. By the way, Paul George, side note, we're taking a detour.
Time to take a detour in the fast lane.
The greatest team ever assembled could be players that were traded for Paul George, which objectively would be objectively would be hilarious. So just simple, if you want to go by the trades and then not how the picks conveyed, you get Shea, Jaylen Brown, Domantas Sabonis, Victor Oladipo, which before his injuries he was really good, and Danilo Gallinari, plus 7 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps.
Has Paul George accumulated the most value for one player in
NBA
NBA
probably
history?
did.
I think we're at a point where that's a fact now.
I mean, so like I want to pull up. Oh, and if you want to go by picks conveyed, you can replace Oladipo for Jalen Williams, J-Dub. Kind of insane.
I mean, yeah. Paul George, let's keep in mind, Paul George is now 36 years old. He is not a spring chicken anymore. He has been around for a long time. He's about 6 years older than Jaylen Brown, right? And so you would think, okay, why would the Celtics move away from a guy like Jaylen Brown for Paul George? You'd say, oh, it's likely to clear up some money, clear up salary cap. The difference in salary between the two players is $2.9 million. Now, the one thing that you get with getting Paul George instead of Jaylen Brown is in 3 years, Jaylen Brown is due nearly $70 million. And at that point, Paul George will not have a contract. So Brad Stevens, the Celtics general manager, is a man that I trusted, past tense, just about more than any other general manager in all of sports. Sam Presti, I thought was the only GM better than him. But now I have no idea what Brad has cooking. You would think this is the first move of a couple or something. I think he's either going to try and flip Paul George for someone. He has until July 6th to do so. I think that's the less likely of the scenarios. What it looks like they're gearing up for is the summer of 2027, when they're going to have Paul George on a $57 million expiring contract. You attach assets to that, you could flip it with a sign and trade for another big player, maybe Nikola Jokic. He's going to have 1 year left at that point, be kind of unsettled. That's the only rational explanation for why Brad Stevens would have made this trade at this point. I even that I still don't understand, because that's a gamble looking forward.
After Ed's potentially unnecessary detour, let's get back on the road in the fast lane.
Just an insane trade to be made. All the while, insane things were happening in the World Cup.
Number 4.
So we mentioned it. We reacted live at the end. And I guess his bet cash. Shout out to John Manson, because it ended in extra time. But Belgium off a penalty in the 120th minute. Literally the last moment of the game, by Telemans.
Yuri Tielemans.
What he said. They win 3-2. They make the comeback. Someone made took De'Aaron Fox's face and put him on a Senegal player's body. That was on Twitter. Great tweet. 3-2 your score. And reminder, action from yesterday, England to Dominican Republic. I always see DR and I'm thinking the Democratic Republic of Congo. Of the Congo.
Dr. Congo.
Won. Spain did get a 3-0 win on today over Austria. Portugal, Croatia will be the next matchup starting at 7. But as for the most important game yesterday, as I mess up the buttons.
Number 3.
God bless America. They win 2-0, despite the fact that the goal scorer in the 45th minute, Balogun, gets hit with a red card in the 64th minute for and if you've seen the video on Twitter, you know, a somewhat controversial red card, to say the least. U.S. played with 10 men from the 64th minute on. Malik Tillman with a golazo, maybe the goal of the tournament.
Beautiful free kick.
It's going to be in the conversation for the goal of the tournament. Malik Tillman gets the 2-0 win. Take that, Greg Berhalter, who did not want to play Malik Tillman. And Malik Tillman kind of been the guy who's kind of emerged outside of the stars from Mauricio Pochettino in terms of like the player he saw in the U.S. roster, had a really good Gold Cup, leads to a really good goal here to make it 2-0. They win 2-0. They advance to take on Belgium without Balogun, their leading goal scorer. So you might see a Haji Wright, you might see a Ricardo Pepi. This was a really, really fun game yesterday. One of the better American performances, especially when they had to face with 10 men and to get another goal. And it was in front of a lot of eyeballs. 24.43 million viewers, peaked at 31.88 million viewers in the 9:45, 10 p.m. window. Most watched soccer telecast in English language history. JJ, on the field, they faced a major setback. They're going to be without their star striker, who really could have had like a hat trick or a brace in that game. But big loss there. But I think they're still very capable of beating Belgium.
Absolutely. I mean,
you don't think so.
Now,
you want American.
I would lean Belgium still in the next game, just because I think they have.
You know who's favored?
Who is favored?
The American.
Now, is that because the U.S. fans are betting a bunch on the the team.
No,
and
the
that-
initial line.
The
was
initial
Amer-
line
was
favored the
Amer-
Americans.
Favored
Wow.
the Americans.
Now, it was a great performance against Bosnia yesterday, 2-0. There's not really a bad thing you can
Now
say
it's
about
US
it.
plus 160, so it's like plus 164. They're all plus.
Right. I got you. A little bit of a controversial opinion. I wasn't that mad at the red card. I understood it. I saw where the referee was coming from. As soon as they
But it
went to
wasn't the
VAR.
referee. It was the.
But he looked at it in VAR, and
Yeah.
and I mean, it was intent isn't necessarily the most important thing for a red
slow
card.
motion made it look worse.
At the end of the day, it was a dangerous play, and I know he didn't break his ankle, but it's possible that he could have. Where it's really going to come back to kill him, as you mentioned, is the suspension against the Belgium game, a game that I genuinely believe is now the most important game in American men's soccer history. Playing in Seattle, the environment is going to be unbelievable, maybe something unlike these players have ever seen before, other than their group stage match against Australia there. But hopefully the environment can will the team to a victory against a really experienced Belgian team. But as you mentioned, they disappoint in the World Cup frequently.
And by the way, for everyone who's watching this game as a first-time soccer fan, and then watching them celebrate by singing Country Roads, remember that song is not about West Virginia.
About Western Virginia.
About Western Virginia. Please get a map. Okay? Map shows that the Shenandoah River is in Virginia,
There
not
you
in
go.
West Virginia.
They're singing about us,
Just,
Trey.
just want to point that out.
Number 2.
Other news and notes from yesterday as we have Shams Charania. We're going back to the hoops now. More help for the 76ers. They're just having a day. Free agent just taking another Celtic, but this guy was part of the trade, so he left the Celtic. Anthony Simon signs a 2-year, $12.3 million deal with the Sixers, adding more shooting to them there as well. JJ.
Yeah, a great bench pickup for the Sixers. He made the 6th most threes out of anyone off the bench in the NBA last year. Really efficient three-point shooter. Absolute flamethrower scorer off the bench. He's like exactly what that Philadelphia team would need. It hurts my soul to see him go there. Another Celtic in Philly. But this Philly team is looking awfully dangerous, Trey. It makes me nervous going forward. And rumor has it they're kind of making a little bit of a push for LeBron. So that's something to just keep an eye on. I would be
We
shocked.
got to take another detour because this. I hope Ed's listening right now, Ed. I hope you're listening. Before we get to the final one,
Time to take a detour in the fast lane.
Ed has probably been very hard on LeBron James. I mean, he makes the jokes. He has the
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
he has that on there. Make fun of LeBron. He doesn't think LeBron's the GOAT, which JJ unfortunately is on the wrong side of that as well.
Yeah, of course.
Wrong side.
Right side.
No, wrong. But for having, it's kind of like, I think it'd be hilarious that Ed Lane has to root for LeBron James next season if he is the Philadelphia 76ers. Kind of like how I wanted my cousin who's a Bulls fan to have to root for LeBron James. He's a Giants fan, and like having them sign Russell Wilson brought me great joy of him having to root for Russell Wilson. I don't hate Russ, but it's just funny. Those moments are funny.
Yeah, of course.
After Ed's potentially unnecessary detour, let's get back on the road in the fast lane. Number 1.
And finally, some IndyCar news. We rarely talk about IndyCar news, I'm going to re-hit that.
Number 1.
Rarely talk about IndyCar news, but this is so big that I figured I would let the audience know. Scott Dixon has recently informed Chip Ganassi Racing that he is set to leave Chip Ganassi Racing after this season and will not be returning for 2027. He spent 24 seasons together. He has won 6 championships. He is arguably the greatest of all time when it comes to IndyCar, and he's done it all at Chip Ganassi Racing. This is like Tom Brady leaving the Patriots, like that level of it. He has won the 24 Hours of Daytona. He's won the Indy 500. He is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 6. I remember that. 6-time Indy. So he's competed in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So he is 58-time race winner in the IndyCar. He's one of the greatest ever. He's rumored to head to McLaren, but rarely get IndyCar news on the fast lane. But I figure that's just so big and that it crosses over. And Scott Dixon heading out at Chip Ganassi Racing. When we head back here, some more thoughts on NASCAR. We'll maybe make a pick for the race. We'll have Tanner Marlar around 5:40 in about 20 minutes from now. We're going to talk about the long sustained impact of U.S. soccer. We mentioned the number here. I think we're going to look big picture. JJ played
I did play soccer
Played soccer at Jefferson Forest, if I'm not mistaken, right?
for the middle school.
For the middle school.
Yeah.
Okay, he didn't play high school soccer,
No.
but he did play soccer. So a little bit. So we'll talk about that and much more. You're listening to The Fast Lane on VTR and Sports.
Slow IT support, high costs, or paying for services you just don't use? It's time for a change. Hi, I'm Colt with We Fix Stupid Computers. We provide reliable on-site and remote support tailored for businesses just like yours. And we go beyond just fixing problems. We empower your staff with real tech knowledge so they can work smarter every day. From repairs to training to full IT support, we save you time, stress, and money. Call We Fix Stupid Computers, 434-525-8590, where smart support meets real savings.
Spring means green lawns, open windows, and afternoons spent outdoors. At Brownstone Properties, you'll find homes with private yards, with locations near scenic walking trails, or beautiful local parks, perfect for family picnics or peaceful strolls. This season, find your place to grow. Start today at brownstoneproperties.com or call 434-385-1025. Brownstone Properties, where home is at the heart of everything we do.
Hill City, the Howlers are ready to celebrate America's 250th at City Stadium. Friday the 3rd, a patriotic cap giveaway presented by Foster Fuels. On Saturday the 4th, celebrate America's 250th with a patriotic rally towel and the only fireworks show in Lynchburg postgame presented by Drain Rangers. And Sunday, a kids' ice cream jersey giveaway before the 2 p.m. start. Get your tickets now at hchowlers.com and howl out loud.
Holes for Heroes is back at the 29th Annual Boonesboro Fire and Rescue Benefit Golf Tournament. Your support goes beyond teeing off Monday, July 20th at the Boonesboro Country Club. It's also sponsoring a hole or lunch, because however you support the event, you're actually helping with key services like continuing education and training, building maintenance, plus gear and equipment, including the new fire truck that's currently being built. Start your support now at BoonesboroFireRescue.org. That's BoonesboroFireRescue.org.
Step into the Fast Lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the Fast Lane.
$5:22 on this Thursday, July 2nd. Welcome back to the Fast Lane with Ed Lane, minus Ed Lane, because he's not here. He said, I don't want to be here. No, I'm just kidding. He had the Baird Sports Media Conference. And then he's taken basically 2 weeks off, man. Living that high life because he's heading on vacation. We may have shows next week. We may not. It's not my call. Well, it sort of is my call.
Kind of is.
It is, but it's not. I'm whatever this guy wants. So if you want to hear JJ more at JJ Hendrickson 27, even though it's wrong on the graphic, just tag him, blow him up.
Yeah, tweet me.
Yeah. Anyways, as for the World Cup, we mentioned this bigger picture. Kind of got to let JJ cook in the first segment about how the Jaylen Brown trade and everything that goes with that. Still upset?
Oh, very, very upset, Trey.
How long is it going to take you to get over that?
It'll take probably months, I would say, man. Just trading him to Philly makes it so much worse. Like, if there's one franchise in the NBA that I could pick for Jaylen Brown to not go to, it would have been the Philadelphia 76ers.
I was going to say we will have Christmas Day games on basketball, but we'll probably also have football games, so we might be able to squeeze it in. But most likely, I bet you, Christmas Day, JB returns to Boston for the Celtics, or to face the Celtics. So, anyways, I want to bring back up the big number. The 31.88 million viewers, 24.43 million in average, peaking at 31.8 between the game between U.S. and Bosnia Herzegovina. It's ironic that the next game will be 8 p.m. on Monday night. I wish I had like a Monday Night Football. All right. That's Sunday Night Football, but you know, Monday Night Football on ABC. like Hank Williams Jr. used to do it. They now do I can feel it coming in the end. And it's Chris Stapleton and Snoop Dogg. It's a great song. What a clip right there. All right, this is great radio I'm providing. Just singing, and you want to hear that song, listen to our sister station, WLYH Rewind 103.9. Anyways, my point. That game's going to be the most... I think that number, because this game started at 8, right? Started at 8 on a Wednesday.
Correct. That is
People are used to watching sports at 8 p.m. on a Monday night. This will be the most watched game in U.S. history. Ironic, the last time the U.S. had to me, the greatest individual performance by an American in the World Cup was Tim Howard against Belgium. Ironically, it was a 2-1 loss. No, 1-0. 1-0 loss. And he made 10 saves in that game.
He had 17 saves.
Yeah, he had an insane amount of saves, which was almost broken by the Cape Verde goalkeeper in the game against Spain. Anyways, Tim Howard, if he had 18, they go to penalties, they might win that game. Who knows?
They came very close to winning that game in regulation.
Yeah.
Chris Wondolowski booted one over the bar from about 6 yards out at the end of the game, so it's just worth mentioning.
Anyways, you mentioned most important game in U.S. history, but long term, the fact that this is, and you've seen this upward trajectory of soccer, and I know there's probably people listening why are you talking about soccer? It's more about a big picture thing, because I think 10 years from now, you're going to see the effects of this World Cup, where you see young guys playing soccer, and this is assuming that hopefully the AAU, whatever you want to call it, youth system is affordable, which is another bigger problem in sports we could get into with every level of sports is one of the biggest problems. But you saw it with the Women's World Cup. Was it 99 Chastain? Randy Chastain game-winning goal?
Yeah, I believe so.
It was 1999.
I'll fact check you there.
Yeah, it was 1999. And the effect that had on the women soccer movement in America, which women's sports has grown exponentially since then. But the U.S. has basically been the team since 2000 in women's soccer, including the defending Olympic champions. Anyways, now I don't think the U.S. is going to win the World Cup. I have them losing in the quarters. You have them losing next. That was our predictions. Now, they play like they did, especially in that first half, and they can get through Belgium without Balogun. We have seen, a half or a game and a quarter-ish, because they had a half with Christian in the first half. I'm talking about the full squad.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lost Balogun in the 64th minute. And when they play their full squad with Balogun up top, they look as good as any team has looked in the World Cup, outside of maybe France and Argentina, and then Spain has not conceded. And Mexico. I would throw Mexico in there. But the movement and the casual soccer fan watching this, it's going to grow the game, which is good for the sport, which is going to be good for American soccer, because you're going to have people who are 10 years old watching this and then wanting to play soccer, and that grows the sport. So the long-term effects of having a World Cup, it's why you host the World Cup, part of the reason, and to make lots of money, that's probably the bigger reason. But there's going to see a real growth in the game of soccer in the next 10 years, especially with, even if they lose to Belgium, the fact that if you could argue, this won't be the farthest they've been. It was a quarterfinal in 2002. This is arguably the best performance I'm not counting when they finished third, in the modern era of U.S. soccer, in terms of just how they've won. They've already scored the most goals that we've ever seen from an American team. And it's pretty incredible to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is undoubtedly the best the Americans have ever performed at the World Cup. And I think if there's one man we can all tip our caps to, it's Mauricio Pochettino. He's done an unbelievable job with those, 26 men in the locker room. They're playing as one. They're playing for each other. You can see that. And it just means so much to him. I mean, after the game, he's out there belting out "Take Me Home, Country Roads." This is an Argentinian guy.
From a small farm in Argentina.
Exactly. And he's belting out "Take Me Home, Country Roads." I love what he's done with the program as a whole. And like you said, they're in maybe the best spot they've ever been in. A win over Belgium. It's undebatably their best run in World Cup history. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, if they win that game, they tie the 0-2 team that ironically beat Mexico in 0-2, get to the quarterfinals, and to go on and win, or they they lost to, was it, who did they lose in 02? They lost to, I want to say Portugal in 02.
It was Germany 1-0.
Germany, okay. No, I'm thinking of a different year with Portugal. Anyways, my point being, you're going to see real sustained growth of soccer. And I think soccer has grown big here. Jefferson Forest was the one. They had a really good year in high school soccer, correct?
Yeah, they've always been a very good local program. I know EC Glass has also had some success, at least back. And I don't know how they're doing recently, but they have historically had a really good program as well.
So you're going to see the growth of soccer in America, and you see. I mean, the scenes in Mexico City have been incredible. The scenes in Canada, obviously, Canada's not playing in Canada anymore because they lost their group and kind of lost control of that. But you're going to see tons of growth and tons of just grand old times. The environment in Seattle is going to be epic, and it's going to be on Monday Night Football. So it's funny, and if you have any dignity, please do not put Greg Berhalter on the air talking about this team. Just thank you.
Yeah, fully agree with that.
Pivoting a little bit to, I mean, arguably the most important thing this weekend, JJ. Most important thing going on in the world.
What's that?
We have a wedding.
Oh, wow! I didn't even think about that.
I
honestly.
mean, apparently it's going to be in Madison Square Garden. There, you got like a digital invite where you have to sign an NDA, and like they don't even know the dollar amount if you reveal things, which I don't know how you get caught. But would you rather? Okay. Would you rather attend the wedding between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, just because you could see all the celebrities that would be there? Or I'm trying to think of or James Franklin's first game against VMI.
I mean, as a Hokies graduate, I'd much rather go to James Franklin.
Yeah, but they're playing VMI.
Even still,
no
it's the
offense.
first
Please
James
listen to that
Franklin.
game.
We're talking a home
Please,
game?
Yes, please listen to it on the BTR and Sports
Man,
app.
that Enter Sandman's going to be unreal. I would much rather be there. I know my
I kinda
sister
agree with
is
you.
not going to be happy with me saying this. She's the biggest Taylor Swift fan I know.
Yeah, my wife would go to the wedding.
Shout out Natalie, but yeah, I would absolutely go to the James Franklin game at VMI. Although I'm sure the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce wedding will be quite the occasion. I would prefer James Franklin. Where would you go, Trey? Which of those two are you attending?
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Now my wife would pick the wedding. I wonder what Ed would pick. I mean, it's I would say it's an opportunity. If now let's double the stakes. Now for me, if you told me I'm sitting next to Jason Kelce and I get to hang out with Jason Kelce the entire time, keyword Jason Kelce, not Travis. I might change it because Jason Kelce is one of my favorite players of all time. And there's an outside shot LeBron James would be at that wedding because he is a Cleveland guy, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, there would be people I would want to interact with at that game, including, like, mainly Jason Kelce. Like, I would need security to, like, get...
That's why you're going there, the Jason Kelce experience?
I would, yes, just to hang out with Jason Kelce. So, Jason, if you're listening, you want to hang out, let me know. I will buy garage beer.
At Trey Lyle VT on Twitter. DM him.
Yeah, please. But it's interesting. I mean, you know, another big thing happening this weekend is racing in Chicagoland. The return to Chicagoland. We'll talk about that with Tanner Marlar in a few moments. From frontstretch.com. Enjoying just a grand old time there. But yeah, so big weekend. Plus, you know, 250th year of America.
Yeah, big 250. Happy birthday, America. I mean, everyone better stay safe out there. I'm
Here
sure
we
there's
go.
going to
One
be
more in relation to the 250th. In your opinion, what's the most American sport?
I mean, American football has to be the answer. It's in the name, Trey.
That's incorrect. That is the wrong answer.
What would you say?
It's baseball.
Okay, that is America's pastime.
Or boxing.
I don't know about boxing.
That's more... I think it's baseball. I mean, American football, yes, but it was. I think you can't say basketball because technically basketball was invented by a Canadian.
Yeah. It was in Massachusetts at least.
Yeah, but I think it's
yeah.
between like American football because it is American football and baseball.
It's one of the two for
But
sure.
to me, like since American football is not played during July 4th, which by the way, we'll have July 4th baseball games for you right here on PTRN Sports, powered by ESPN Radio. Like to me, nothing screams more American than a hot dog, if you're of age, a cold beer or a cold beverage, and like a baseball game. Which, if you want to go to a baseball game, check out InsaneRadioDeals.com. Get tickets to the His City Howlers. Shout out to Jason Pearl. But not, I think that's pretty, stock car racing's pretty American because that's an only American thing.
Yeah.
I would throw that in as well. But I think I would go with baseball. I like just something, it is Americans' pastime. And even though the most popular sport is, like, you have to think about it in terms of like the optimal viewing. You're watching in the cold in December versus like now or like late August with the beer.
I get what you mean.
So, anyways, when we come back, Tanner Marlar, frontstretch.com, joins us. NASCAR is returning to Chicagoland. His expectation for the weekend. Plus, are they catching up to SVG? We'll talk about that and much more with NASCAR and Tanner Marlar from frontstretch.com next on the Fast Lane.
Pre-owned vehicle, but prior credit issues have you worried? See Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today. We can help. Bad credit, no credit, first-time buyer, or even if you just want to change what you're driving now, we're here to get you approved. See us now and start driving the new car or truck you deserve. When it comes to financing, go with Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We're here to help. Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 1750 Independence Boulevard in Bedford, MagicCityBedford.com.
Hi, I'm Al Billingsley, a board member with CASA of Central Virginia. Children who've experienced abuse or neglect often enter foster care feeling scared, confused, and alone. That's where CASA volunteers step in. We stand behind these children to make sure that their voices are heard in court. CASA is looking for caring adults from our community to serve as volunteer advocates. And as a man, I can tell you we're especially in need more men to step up for these kids. If you're ready to make a difference, learn more at cvcasa.org.
Big transitions feel like big hurdles. That's why Central Virginia Counseling has 2 dynamic 6-week summer groups for rising 6th and 9th graders packed with essential life skills. Each week targets a new skill for success, tools like organization, time management, task initiation, anxiety reduction techniques, and skills for making friends and communicating well. Through peer connection and expert guidance, students will gain tools to feel capable, connected, and ready for day one. Visit us on Timberlake Road or Wigington Road in Lynchburg or at centralvirginiacounseling.com to learn more.
End zone, light them out, touchdown Liberty.
The atmosphere at a game is amazing. It is like family.
I've been a season ticket holder for 14 seasons. The atmosphere is electric.
On the near sideline.
It's an experience you look forward to every week. I like the pageantry, the band.
The pride of knowing that this is our university.
2026 Flames football season tickets are on sale now. Get yours at lufootball.com.
Edge of your seat drama, the thrilling pursuit of victories and championships. From the premier NASCAR series to local racing, visit frontstretch.com for your true inside access. We don't just report the news, we live it. From insightful articles and captivating podcast commentary, frontstretch.com opens the gates to the NASCAR pits, track, and corporate suite so you can get closer to the garage than ever before. Frontstretch.com, fast, fearless, focused on racing fans.
Step into the Fast Lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the Fast Lane.
Record high set today as it's 5:39 on this Thursday, July 2nd, 99 degrees in Lynchburg. Someone who's always hot. And I mean that in every way possible. From frontstretch.com. Tanner Marlar. Buddy, it's always good to see your face. You're joining us on our YouTube stream. VTRN Sports YouTube page, Fastlane Ed Lane YouTube page. Buddy, let's dive right in. So we're looking back at Sonoma. SVG wins. Shocker. but not by a margin that many people expected. Is the field catching up to SVG, or is it just a case of maybe the Trackhouse cars aren't as good as the Toyotas?
I'm going to lean towards the latter, Trey, because here's the thing. If you stuck SVG in a Toyota, what do you think the gap between him and the rest of the field would be?
A lot.
A lot, right? More than it was in that Trackhouse car. And I don't think the gap is as big as we're thinking. These are just drivers that are at the upper echelon and are so much on a lot closer to equal footing at Sonoma. Again, Sonoma's a track that a lot of these drivers have experience on. It's not like going to a Coronado or going to a Chicago street course where, that wild card factor and just pure experience on that type of course is going to play as big of a difference. These drivers know their way around Sonoma and knew their way around Sonoma. And I think that, coupled with the fact that he was in a Trackhouse ride, that's why you saw that distance and that gap kind of close last weekend.
Looking at his performance, though, he is now second all time in road course wins, quickly approaching Jeff Gordon. When can we close the debate on him being the greatest road course racer of all time?
I think before his NASCAR career is over, I would honestly say before next season is over. We're done, obviously, with road courses this year, but before next year, I think you can honestly, realistically have the conversation. As far as, what that looks like and what it would take, he's going to have to, again, sweep road courses. But I think if he can stay out of trouble, he can do that again next year.
And then one more question about SVG as we're here with Tanner Marlar, frontstretch.com. He had a really good performance at Sonoma, jumps to 14th in the standings. He is above the cut line, not by maybe as much as he wanted. Obviously, unfortunately got the, we'll just say, got wrecked out at Coronado. What is his odds, even with the improved work at the ovals, that he will be able to kind of hold on over these last couple of weeks and actually make the chase?
I think the odds are actually quite high. I truly do believe, actually, that we will see our first oval win from him this year. Later on this season, it may not be this weekend, obviously, but I think a mile and a half like Chicagoland, which I'll be excited to be there, it's realistic. But I think we'll see his first win on an oval before the year's over, and I think he does squeak into the chase. I think it'll be around that 14 spot, that 13 to 14 line, but I think he will and eventually be pretty comfortably above that cut line.
Here with Tanner Marlar at Tanner_Marlar on the X Machine, whatever you want to call it. Good pal from frontstretch.com. Another thing for the in-season challenge is, in the rare instances, the 1 seed in the in-season challenge is completely defeated. Tyler Reddick goes down, and because of, again, not losing straight up to Alex Bowman, he has an issue early in the race, gets put 4 laps down, and not enough cautions to recover. Bowman advances. Is this a sign that, and granted, it's 2 years in, that there could be a flaw with the in-season challenge, just doing it in NASCAR, just because you want your bigger names to advance, and the guy who's having now he's second in points, but one of the better seasons is out because of happenstance.
Now, I started my career in traditional stick and ball sports, okay? And I still love it. Don't get me wrong. There's a reason that the Hail State, baby. But there's a reason that this only works in stick and ball sports, okay? Racing, there's so much left to chance every single weekend. An in-season bracket like this, I never thought it was a great idea from the start. It's cool. It's gimmicky. It almost feels a little kitschy, but I don't think you're in a place, if you're NASCAR, where this is adding anything to your product. And I think you're at such a pivotal point here with the Cup Series in general. So many different broadcast partners, so many different things that you need to go right, that anything that takes away from the product or simply just doesn't add to the product, by that logic, then takes away from it.
Here with Tanner Marlar talking about the in-season challenge. However, Denny Hamlin did get the win over Ty Dillon finally. He finally got over that schneid. Who are a couple people you're looking at now that we've gone through the first round of the bracket that you think are going to make some noise as we head to obviously more traditional tracks for the next couple weeks?
Well, you actually mentioned him. Now that Denny Hamlin has defeated the golem that is Ty Dillon, I think the schedule plays right into his hands. You know, you look at Chicagoland this weekend, there's not just a whole lot of Cup guys that have experience winning there or have a lot of experience at Chicagoland, period. We haven't been there since 2019, obviously. So I realistically think Hamlin could be in a really good spot to take home this extra cash.
We're returning to Chicagoland. You mentioned it. Your expectations for the race this weekend?
So I'll be there in person, thankfully. I'm excited. I love this track. I love the area. I love everything about it. I do think, though, that it's going to be a tire muncher. It is going to chew through tires, left and right, like nobody's business. And I think for that reason, I like a lot of the more experienced drivers. I like the guys that are going to be able to save their tires. I like a Christopher Bell. I like a Denny Hamlin. Guys like that can, really maneuver their way through a set of tires and save some for the end. I think weather's going to play a factor. I've been trying to keep up with the weather a little bit, and knock on wood, I don't think we're going to have anything crazy, postponed or whatever. But I do foresee us having some fluctuating track temperature that's going to be a factor as we especially get into the Cup race.
Here with Tanner Marlar, frontstretch.com, talking NASCAR. You mentioned Chicagoland. Is your expectation that this is a long-term play from NASCAR? Or, Jordan Bianchi reported they want to return to the Chicago Street Course. Or is this a one-and-done kind of idea just to maintain a presence in what is the third largest market in the United States?
I feel as though if given the opportunity, NASCAR would go back to the street race because it's different and it's a chance for them to market to a different fan base. However, I personally don't see the Chicago street race sticking around all that much. I don't think the administration there in Chicago or the residents are entirely excited about it. I foresee us returning to Chicagoland in the near future to stay in that market. And if NASCAR wants to, and if the area wants to, pouring a little bit more funds into revamping that facility would be in their best interest, I feel like. I'm going to know this weekend, the second I step, kind of on the premises, if that's already been done, if they're already leaning that direction, judging by if there are any facility improvements or how the weekend is ran. You can usually get a sense of if this is a long-term thing, judging by how the event itself is ran. So I'm looking forward to that. I do hope we stay on the oval personally. I think Chicagoland is a very historic track. I think it has a lot of great memories. And I think now, being that we're in this era of NASCAR, it's one of the few tracks left that has a lot of that old school character that will just chew through tires, is that mile and a half, but can still put on really good racing where this next gen car does well at, and is, like you said, nestled in that third largest media market in the country.
Here with Tanner Marlar, frontstretch.com. Other stuff that came out this week was Alex Bowman. Obviously, ironically, just because the shows how long this has been, and this is not to talk about, he is technically the defending race winner of the last time they were at Chicagoland. He talked about he wanted his situation, his future kind of solved, whether it's from his side, Hendrick Motorsports' side. What is your expectations for Alex Bowman's future in that 48 car?
Truth be told, I think he signs a short-term deal to come back. I don't believe that the seats are going to be out there for him like he would hope. And for that reason, I think if Hendrick offers any kind of return to the 48 type deal for the money that he's probably getting or anything close to it right now, he does re-sign. But I think it's a short-term deal. I truly think that his eyes will probably be elsewhere, but Hendrick will look to fill that seat with good sponsorship money and someone they can trust.
Here with Tanner Marlar, frontstretch.com. Tanner, looking at the latest in all of NASCAR coming as they head to Chicagoland this weekend, and we're going to look ahead for the remainder of the season. It's time to talk cut line and people you're keeping an eye on, looking at the standings as we get close. And kind of this is the time when everyone focuses on that Chase cut line. You look at kind of the most surprising name below it, Joey Logano in 20th right now. Alex, you have Ryan Preece and Austin Cindric maintaining the final spots. But I'm going to give you the 3 that are above the cut line, and I will give you the next 4 below it, and you tell me who is someone you're keeping your eye on in terms of this group. So you have SVG, Ryan Preece, Cindric above it. Then you have Jones, Brad Keselowski, AJ Allmendinger, and Joey Logano. That's your top 20 from 14th to 20th. Who's someone in that group that you're really keeping your eye on, whether that you think they'll be able to get into the chase or ultimately fall out of the chase?
Well, the easy answer here is going to be Joey Logano, but I don't think that's the case. I think the Fords in general have too much going on outside of the garage at the moment from a manufacturer standpoint. I really like Eric Jones in that spot. I really do. We're headed to a lot of these more traditional tracks that he has a lot of experience at, and he's a racer's racer. He's a pro's pro. He's an old school guy. These are the type of tracks that he tends to do well at. If they can put a good enough car underneath him, I could realistically see him racing his way into that 15th or 16th spot, just below SVG from where we mentioned earlier.
And flipping it to the top of the standings, I mentioned it briefly. Hamlin was able to jump Tyler Reddick at Sonoma because of the issues that the 45 had. Is it just a case of Tyler Reddick or Denny Hamlin just performed at such a high level that Reddick didn't let it slip away? It's just, he ran out, got a big lead, and then lost kind of that momentum, and Denny just got hot now. And who do you expect between those two to kind of battle it out for that regular season, that number 1 seed in the chase, if you want to call it that?
I don't think it's going to be much of a battle from here on out. Again, we're heading to all these tracks that play into Hamlin's strength. Not that Reddick isn't going to finish well. I think he is. I do think those two stay at 1-2. I think Hamlin extends his point lead, though, especially when we get into a lot of these short tracks later in the schedule.
You mentioned that short tracks later in the schedule coming up, especially is the return of North Wilkesboro as a cup race, amongst others. I want to mention the guy in third. You mentioned the lack of speed at Ford. 2 guys from Ford are really performing. They're the only 2 guys in the top 10. That's Chris Buescher at 7th, but Ryan Blaney sitting at 3rd. It feels like, once again, lying under the radar is good old Ryan Blaney having, you could argue, one of the most underrated seasons. The fact that he's dragging, and now you could argue Chevrolet because the new body has been slow, but Fords feel like they've been kind of the slowest car. He's kind of dragging a car way above its weight class at this point.
I truly think at this point in time, he might be the most talented driver in the Cup Series as far as where his skill set has developed on these ovals, right? And it's a shame that gets drugged back by, let's be honest, what is at times poor car performance and a lot more times poor pit crew performance. He has lost a lot of races on pit road this year thus far, especially earlier in the year. And I do think that you see Ryan Blaney inside that top 3 based on his skill set alone. If you put him in a Toyota, I think it's a 3-horse race at the top of the standings right now. And it may not be a case of, well, Danny can pull away here on these short tracks, because we've seen Blaney have skill there too.
Yeah, that's why I picked Ryan Blaney to win my in-season challenge. I just think he's so good at those type of tracks. Now, I had Bubba Wallace facing him in the final. That did not go out well because I guess Lewis Hamilton took this past weekend off in the 23 car. As we're here with Tanner Marlar. Looking at the Chevrolets, though, and their growth, it feels like over the last month, Chevrolet, and we can play into the SVG thing with Trackhouse underperforming, but even with Hendrick Motorsports underperforming, Chase Elliott, the only HMS driver to win this season. Where do you assess where Chevrolet is at this point with this new body in terms of building into the season? It does kind of feel a little bit like if HMS is going with the Jimmy Johnson kind of model, you would expect the HMS cars to really ramp it up starting probably this weekend at Chicagoland.
You would. We blame the new body. I think at this point that would have been figured out if that were the case. I feel like the issue is not necessarily deeper, but you have to think we're getting a new Camaro here soon, a new production model of the Camaro that is yet again probably going to result in a radical redesign of the front fascia of these Cup Series cars. I'm not sure if Hendrick looks at this tenure of their cars as a stopgap necessarily, but I do think that this season they might have gotten caught looking ahead to that new model. And as a result of that, the on-track product has suffered. Now, as you said, if they try the Jimmy Johnson mentality of, well, we're just going to come on strong late, squeak some guys into the chase, and see what we can do at the reset, well, that's one thing. But we've got to get to the reset first before we can really start to assess that. As you said, Chase Elliott, the only one who's won thus far this year, and even that was a little earlier. I'll be intrigued to see if they do find some speed here later in the year. But I think more than anything, this is a case of a lot of Chevrolet looking forward to a new product that might be coming within the next year or two, and not necessarily forgetting, but foregoing to put a lot of stock into the body they've got because they know it's on borrowed time.
Of the Chevrolet drivers, who are you most concerned about at this point in the season? You could look at William Byron. He's 12th in points, but it feels like he has not really contended for wins this season. You could go all the way down to Ross Chastain, who's 22nd in points. Maybe those are the top two that comes to mind just because of past success. Is who's in the Chevrolet body, at least, you thought has really underperformed this season?
I think the easiest answer here and the correct one is Ross Chastain. You come into the year, and this is a guy the last 2 years that you said, well, maybe, he can get up into the top end of things and mix it up. The car hasn't been underneath him, and that's fair. But he also hasn't looked like the same driver for a little bit of time now. And it makes you wonder if potentially later down the road a change in scenery is what's needed to kind of revive that kind of spirit. You get into these ruts a lot of times when you're a driver and you're consistently in a car that is just a few degrees behind where everybody else is, and you kind of resign yourself to that role. And I think that's a bit of what's happening to the Chastain crew, is they know that what they've got isn't up to par this season, so they kind of have resigned themselves to that role. And that's tough to see, but I think for that reason, you have to look at that Chastain group and say that change has to come in some form or another. Something's got to be shook up this offseason because you can't afford, with that level of sponsorship and that level of representation, to have back-to-back seasons of this quality.
Lubbock resident Tanner Marlar, frontstretch.com. And why I say that is this will be my final question for you. You head over to Brendan Sorsby's bookie to make a bet for this race. Who you betting to win?
One Dennis Hamlin. One Denny Hamlin. Just the type of track that I think he's going to do well at and has historically done well at. It could be a weird day. We'll see. But as one of the few elder statesmen, I could see also a Brad Keselowski having a good day. I don't know if I'd bet on him to win it, but I could see realistically a top 5 for him. I think this is going to be a day for the vets to shine, the groups that really know their way around this track still, and can really kind of get out and stretch their legs.
Can you ask that judge who almost got Brendan Sorsby to play football this year that he can allow Flo Balogun to play soccer on Monday night?
I'll see what I can do. I was watching that last night. That was an egregious red card, by the way.
It was indeed. At Tanner_Marlar on Twitter. Make sure you follow him. He'll be having coverage all weekend long. Who's with you this weekend, by the way?
Steven
Stump also as well. So at Steven_Stump. Frontstretch.com. Check out their content. Go to the Front Stretch YouTube page for all their videos. Tanner, always fun, buddy. It's always good to see your face. Appreciate the time today, my man.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you, Trey.
That will do it for us. JJ, you made it through this week. Another week down for you.
Yes, sir. Always. This was a rough week, though, courtesy of Brad Stevens and Jaylen Brown.
I mean, just follow JJ on Twitter. He'll probably be ranting about it more throughout the weekend.
Yeah, a few final thoughts about that real quick. They're 36-6 in the last 3 years without Jaylen Brown, and they said they're okay with doing it because they're going to expect Pritchard to take a Brunson-type leap. I don't know about that.
That's called copium from JJ Hendrickson.
No, I'm saying I'm not coping. That's what they're saying. And on top of that, they didn't get Giannis because they didn't want to give him a 3-year extension, only 2. Just mismanagement from the Celtics. But I'll let you wrap it up, Trey.
All right, that will do it for us. Everyone enjoy your July 4th. We're off tomorrow. We're off Monday. We may be off Monday. It's JJ's call. Find out. Make sure you follow JJ on Twitter at JJ Hendrickson27. See if we have a show Monday. Find out then. Bye, everybody.